You know what it is, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
You know who it is, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
Odie, Maurice, Odie, Maurice.
Maurice, Odie, Maurice, Odie.
Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
Hey, oh.
Yes, Mo?
Are you ready?
Let's go!
Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy, Black and Snerdy.
It's the Black and Snerdy podcast with Odie and Maurice.
The Black and Snerdy podcast.
Welcome to the Black and Snerdy podcast. I, of course, am Maurice.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the Snerds who are here on Watch Out Wednesday. And to answer your question, that was a shot of Tito's. Tito's is not sponsoring this podcast.
But they should.
They should, because we drink so much of it. My finances are shit.
We should probably get stock.
For sure. And thank you for joining us on Watch Out Now, Watch Out Wednesdays. This is the offshoot of the Black and Snerdy podcast, where every Wednesday we watch and review a piece of media and we bring it to your attention. So get ready, get set, get steady, get led. I don't know. That's it. That's all I had.
Sherry let herself out.
Yeah. Well, maybe she's a spawn.
Maybe she's a
tequila. Oh, okay. There we go. All right, so today
Wait, do we have a warning? Which one is it?
Let me do the...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so today we are reviewing the episode 2 of Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story found on Netflix. So, warning to everybody who has not seen it.
Warning.
We will be spoiling this episode as we did the previous episode.
Yes. So click it, stick it.
If you want to watch it with us, like a bit of a watch along, like at the same time, like we'll be going in chronological order, for the most part. Alexa, mute.
Do you think she's actually going to listen to you?
No, probably not. This robotic bitch has been unresponsive.
She's been unruly
to my command.
Consternation.
I think the robot uprising is starting, or the
Right.
the quintessential. What's it called? The singularity.
The singularity.
I think the singularity is slowly happening. So
In this episode, we have young Queen Charlotte, played by India Amatafio. Adoja Ando is Lady Agatha Danbury. Michelle Farley from Game of Thrones is Princess Agatha. Ruth Gemmell is Lady Violet.
what are you doing?
I'm just telling everybody who's in. You don't.
We've never done this.
I know.
like
I just
this.
thought maybe we should. Okay. All right. Hey.
We'll bring up the actors
As we see
fit.
Right.
Like, okay, so we start the episode the same way that we left off at the episode. It is the honeymoon of the marriage of King Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pie to Charlotte, and she is bored.
Well, I would be bored too if every single thing that I did all day. First of all, I have 10,000 people staring at me and watching me from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. Like, on one hand, I would love to have a staff. People to
This is
cook
all new to her.
and clean and all of that. But not at any time do I want that
You really
staff.
wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I don't want them staring at me while I'm, like, about to poo. Like, everything that she's doing,
I don't
they're
think
all...
they stare as
Okay,
she poos.
maybe not as she poos, but they're, like, right at the door. You ever been to a party or, like, at a restaurant or something, you have to go to the bathroom, and you know it's, like, a singular stall, and someone's waiting there? That's the most uncomfortable time.
It's the opposite for me. I actually make sure if there's a line, I make sure that they know
What
that
you're doing?
this was a danger zone.
Ooh,
And I blow it up.
Danger zone.
No, that's a bit of a lie. That's a bit of a lie. Like I get high anxiety.
Yeah.
Knowing that they're just like when we went to your friend's or your sister's friend's birthday in the Lower East Side, and there was just that one bathroom.
Yeah.
You told me there was another bathroom. For the life of me, I could not find the other bathroom because there was a long line outside that one bathroom. That signifies that there's only one bathroom.
Well,
Anyhow.
She constantly has people following her, and so she's very bored because the king just left her there to go stay at his own estate. And then you have her mother-in-law, who is Princess Agatha.
Yeah, who's
she's
not colluding, but like confiding in like her sort of chambers with her aides.
Well, they're talking about the Great Experiment, aka
racism,
having a nigger in the throne room.
Jesus.
Literally every time we watch this now, it just makes me think about.
Okay, no, we can't move past this. You're not allowed to say the N-word.
Well, I don't say it. It's not a part of my vernacular.
Know, but
on purpose.
Like, you don't even. It's not in your vernacular. So much so that, like, when you say it, it's the hardest of ERs.
To me, there's no distinction. There's no distinction between the ER and the A. Y'all can make that distinction all you want.
Phonetically, like, it just rolls more off the tongue if it's the A.
No, there's no difference. However,
ER is just like.
That's how you should all feel.
A is like.
That's how you should all feel every time you say it. Think about that, the ancestors. But as you know, the colonies
I think some of the ancestors were saying it.
They were, but I mean, you know, white supremacy.
You don't think that like...
No, they were saying it, but they were only saying it because... They were saying it because that's what people were calling them, and they even were, when they were saying it, it was still not like a term of endearment. They're just saying it because they know that's the worst thing you can call somebody. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna call the guy who's an idiot a nigga. Whether they were saying A or ER, that sounded better. They were saying it as a discriminatory term, but either way, the princess and her men are talking about the Great Experiment, which is having this black woman in the crown.
Yes, and then in addition to having like upgraded
all of the blacks,
a bunch of black lords and ladies,
but like they've upgraded them, but not really. It's definitely separate but equal, but like. The integration into the schools, but you still don't have like really good water fountains or books. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh, we need to make sure people they're talking. They first of all, the whole conversation is surrounding have they fucked? Yeah. Like have they consummated the marriage?
Yes.
Because even now, technically, if you get married and you never consummate your marriage, you could annul it and be like, well, we never had sex.
As I know that for sure. I know that for firsthand. I used to be married, y'all. I used to be married.
But you never consummated, so you were never actually married.
I mean, in my heart I was.
But
not in my heart I was.
But
or in her heart.
The princess and everyone's just like, did she, have they had sex? What's going on? Because they don't, at the end of the day, they don't want a scandal. And they also, what I wrote down was the King George in history books is known as the Mad King. Mm-hmm. We've seen in Bridgerton how he had, obviously by the time the Bridgerton timeline is, he has descended into madness. His mental health has deteriorated very much. And we could tell by the discussion of his mother and the lords that this is something that they've known, that they're trying to keep secret. And it's like very thinly veiled, like, oh, King George, he's perfect. He's amazing. He's the best person ever. But in reality, he's got something going on. But they don't want to discuss it. They don't want to say anything because he's the king. And meanwhile, his wife, Queen Charlotte, who's only she's a 17-year-old girl. Yeah. She's stuck in this house being just, and on one hand, it's great. She has people at her beck and call. Mm-hmm. She has the finest of garments, all of these jewels.
And I made note of this. She has to wear heels even indoors.
Yes. And
that's insane to
me. Wrote down, there's no way, regardless of how rich or wealthy I am, that I am ever walking around my house in a freaking gown. Now, maybe I might have one of those, fancy kind of robes. Yeah. But I'm 100% wearing, a fuzzy slipper.
I wanted to, when I first moved into my new apartment, I wanted to wear my favorite Adidas, I wanted to have a pair of Adidas Top 10 highs like that I just wear indoors. And I don't wear them outdoors. I just wanted to wear them as if they were.
Why did you want to
like,
wear
my
sneakers inside?
They would act like my slippers.
I mean...
And they'd be indoor sneakers.
I mean, indoor sneakers is better than indoor heels.
And it was the Star Wars ones that I wanted to wear. Those are my favorite ones that I only wear like on my birthday.
Yeah.
But I decided against it, obviously. And Charlotte is going crazy with all of the tedium and the boredom.
Yeah.
And
because she has like the first thing she asks Brimsley, her hand or whatever you would call him, the queen's man, is like, okay, what? Like she wakes up and she's like, you know what? I'm here in this house by myself. I'm bored. Tell me what's on my engagement list. Like, what am I doing? Am I going to see the gowns? Am I going to see people? Am I going to go to the opera? Like, what's going on? Where are my ladies in waiting?
You're on your honeymoon, miss.
You're on your honeymoon. Because this is the time where the king and the queen are supposed to be, with each other. In the biblical sense, they're supposed to know each other.
In the fucking sense.
They're supposed to know each other, be spending this time, getting to know one another. Both, just because one, at this time, like it was in the times of like arranged marriage, that first, like whatever, month or week or whatever that you're married.
Oh, I thought it was like... I thought of it as the first 48 hours.
Well, you would be spending time, generally, time with your spouse.
My honeymoon, it's just going to be 48 hours. And then after that, I'm hanging out with my friends. Or being by myself. It's the first 48.
You're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to Q. I'm going to my estate in Q. You stay here. But like, she doesn't really know anything. Even though she's a very learned girl, she's still a girl of the times. So even though she knows, like, technically what was supposed to happen on her wedding day, she really doesn't have really an understanding.
Nobody does until they find out.
Yeah, and so, but she does know that
it's a very fuck around and find out kind of culture that they live in.
Yes, and because they didn't talk about anything. Everything was very polite, Yeah. And so she's not spending time with her husband. He's not even there. He doesn't even show up. Like, when he said he was going to stay in his own home, I thought he was going to at least, like, come by and see her for lunch or something, or tea. Yeah, like, no. you going to... Because the thing is, there are plenty of couples who either live separately or have separate bedrooms. And they have no issue. They have no issues with that. Because just because you don't live with each other doesn't mean you're not going to be spending time with each other.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're not living with me. I have not seen you. And then also, I'm alone in this foreign country by myself. So even though she has all the things at her disposal, she can't do them because during the time of your honeymoon,
and
you're
food
supposed...
is not seasoned.
No, first of all, that was the first thing I wrote down. I know she is pissed off every time she eats because British food is not good.
Even if it's the highest, like,
it's not good.
Wealthiest food that they have, like, it's probably like only delicious on like a bare, like it passes the delicious, like, sort of
it's a bare minimum on the
test,
scale,
but it's barely passing because it doesn't have any seasonings and shit.
Even
like,
though at this time they had been
shrimp, rice, something.
She had every meal she had looked bland. Even when
bland.
she had, like, I don't know, like a lamb roast or whatever.
She had fruits at one point,
and it looked bland. Like a bland. How does a fruit look bland? I don't know, but it looked bland.
It did look.
And I will say, like, Germany, of all the places I've been to in Europe, France is definitely
travel brag. Everybody take
humble brag.
Everybody take a shot when she does a travel brag.
I would say that, like, Germany.
And I've been to Bahia.
Germany, their food is delicious. And it has like a lot of sauces and stuff, so I feel like it's a very seasoned thing. So she's probably accustomed to having food that even if like they may not have had like seasonings, it was like a saucy thing or like there was some sort of flavor. But everything she eats looks bland, and it's a very ornate like spread, and it's enough food for everyone. And my question is, do you think that the servants are eating that when she's done? Because
I was thinking about that.
No one can eat that much food, and they always have like this huge
Well,
spread.
The plates seem like tapas style. They seem kind of small. Well,
They do
actually,
seem
no,
small,
you're right.
but
You're right. I'm looking at the spread.
when
The
you look
spread-
at, they give them as much, because it's like at the end of the day, they want the queen to be able to eat to her heart's content.
Yeah.
But she's not going
eating
to.
all that for.
One,
I think they're giving it to like the wait staff.
I
and
think they're
stuff,
eating
like,
it after. Which
doggy
I mean,
bags.
if you're
When
honestly,
I worked at a restaurant, I used to.
oh yeah, 100%. I was
Yeah.
always, even when I worked at the movie theater. I used to, when we would have to at AMC in Georgetown.
Yeah, I used
we
to
would
dump
get
the popcorn back into the thing. That's why I don't like popcorn.
no. Actually, we would actually throw it out.
Oh,
Huge bags of popcorn, and we would always say like, why can't we at least like donate it or give it to people? And they said that we couldn't because apparently some years back, they would be giving out the popcorn to like homeless shelters in the area, and someone choked on a kernel and they sued them. So they were like, oh no, we're not giving it to anybody anymore.
See,
Versus
that
just
one person fucked it up.
But
for
no, that's
everybody.
just them being like greedy, because they could have just said, we're gonna give this to you and you're gonna sign the liability thing. Like, if we give this to you, you cannot sue us. That's
You
that's
sound
it.
so corporate. Like,
Well-
you're gonna sign this liability waiver so
That's
that we
what
can
you do in corporate.
feed you, you
Listen.
homeless urchin.
At the end of the day, people are gonna look for a come up any way possible, and I don't blame them. You should 100%.
I farted.
You should 100% scam these corporations for any and everything that
Yes.
you can.
Clothes,
Whatever it is.
anything.
Scam them. But if you like that one person being like, you know what, I'm bucking the system, should not stop you from being altruistic. Just make a way that you can't be sued. But like, I feel like if I was gonna be a servant in this times, I would 100% want to work in the palace. One, because you're gonna get to see a lot of cool people. Two, the tea is gonna be immaculate.
They're finishing the tea. They're not.
No, I'm not talking about
They're not
the
getting
drink. I'm not talking
leftover
about the
teas.
drinking tea. I'm talking about the tea.
Oh, the guy.
Because imagine when the
Yeah.
dignitaries come and they are just drunk off their ass. And you know, rich people, wealthy people actually, because being rich just means you have a lot of money.
Yes.
When you're wealthy and you have like
Your whole
generational
universe
wealth,
is
they don't see the staff. The staff is basically just like ornaments to them.
Yeah.
So they will be acting a fool, and they know that the staff can't say anything to them. So like, imagine the bullshit that would have gone down in the palace. Like, even okay, at one point, Queen Charlotte is just fed up of having Brimsley walking behind her 5 paces all the time. And she's just like running from him in the palace. I would think that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And imagine you being able to say, girl, do you know what the queen was doing today? And you're talking to your friends at the other estates who working in the ton.
This is a very pre-internet thing.
It is.
on.
Because what else are you doing?
Which made me think, like, now that the internet exists, like, do you think the people at Buckingham Palace or like in royalty, like the servants and stuff, do you think they have like Twitter accounts?
I think they have a Twitter account, but I also think they have a group chat.
I think they have a group chat.
They have a group chat, and they have a Finsta and a fake Twitter.
Yes.
And that's how some of these little stories come out. Because remember when there was that, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but there was this whole like scandal about allegedly, when Prince William was cheating on Kate with her alleged friend Rose, who's like a dowager, whatever she is. That came out, and how did it come out? Probably someone in the castle. And then 2, when there was this whole thing about allegedly William liking to be pegged, and so that was making its rounds on Twitter. And first of all, don't kink shame people. If a man likes to be pegged,
enough of the
awesome.
There's like 2 kinks that you can shame. That's not one of them.
Yeah, no, I have a list of kinks that are shameable.
Animals, piss.
Incest.
I was gonna say poo.
Oh, animals,
Bodily
bestiality, bodily fluids, and incest. I'm always gonna shame them.
Well,
and necrophilia.
Oh, yes, and
because when I was little,
and obviously the legal ones, the fucking underage and and stuff.
Because when I was little, my mom used to always say, unless they're having sex with an animal a dead person, or like, I don't know, like maybe it was like an old person, like something really weird,
or an old
like
person.
like a super old person.
That's pre-necrophilia.
I don't care what they're doing. That's the code I live by. I don't care. I mean, I do now. Like, I do care if you want me to pee on you, because that's
not predetermined.
Pre-necrophilia.
No. What's the premeditated necrophilia?
Premeditated necrophilia. Yes. Because if she's 90 years old, she could die during the act, and if he could die, they could die during the act. Okay. At that age.
So just the time check. We're 20 minutes into the podcast.
We are. We haven't even gotten.
We've gotten 8 minutes into the actual thing.
Well, there's a lot of Charlotte just running around the castle, bored as fuck, not having anything to do. But I will say, the library that she has is goals.
I knew you were. I knew you got wet when you saw the fucking library.
The vapors, because
it wasn't even as impressive as Belle's library.
It's not, but that's a much more doable library.
Beauty and the Beast.
But we
Lord
also
knows, you don't need any more books. Listeners, please email in and tell this woman that she doesn't need any more books. She's not reading all of them.
It doesn't matter, but at some point I could.
You could?
I could.
At some point, I could play with any of... You see my library? My library is reasonable.
It's very sparse.
It's mostly graphic novels. It's actually all graphic.
No, you have some books about podcasting.
Yeah, but I've read those books. I've read most. I made it a point a few years ago not to buy a book unless I read the previous book that I bought.
Well,
which is why I have not bought a new book since I bought Hero with 1,000 Faces.
Well, I also have that intention.
Okay, you can have all the intentions in the world.
I have that intention.
And have...
I can't help it when I see a fine-looking book.
What's the saying? Like, you hope in one hand and shit in another and see which one fills up faster?
I didn't hear that saying, but it's great.
Yeah. Intentions.
But we see, of course, we see Charlotte, like, young Charlotte running around, bored as fuck. And then, of course, it fast forwards to modern times of the Bridgerton era.
Yes.
And first off, we get to see Violet with her grandbabies, her black grandbabies.
Yeah, they are just the cutest babies.
Do you want to know something? Mm-hmm. I personally have an issue. I want to put babies
in pre-modern era clothing, like have them
of course, those little big huge dresses,
like turn of the century onesies. No, I mean the babies, not
the babies, because you know how they used to wear those dresses and they were just like yards of fabric. Yeah. But I feel like Lady Danbury's babies look like they are black mixed babies.
They do look like they're black mixed babies.
However,
I wonder if that's what they were looking for.
Queen Charlotte, only 2 of her children out of all of them are even kind of melanin. And it's not to say
she doesn't have a lot of Drakes.
The thing is, people are going to come out, like, if you...
Those babies, I mean, those children are white.
Except for she has one son and one daughter that are clearly, obviously, mixed or, black children.
But Queen Charlotte's baby,
the rest of them...
Because they're all adult men.
The rest of her children, her children are... They're just very, very white. And I just don't see that as being... It doesn't seem to make sense to me. And it's not that when you have, like, having one black parent and one white parent, there are times when your child could come out, even with 2 black parents, honestly, your child can come out of a variety of colors.
Yeah, like
I just don't think that she could have, I don't know, what is it, like 10 kids? And only 2 of them are coming out brown?
You're being generous, because we've seen the shot of all the children, and most of them, if not all of them,
are very, very,
very, very
white. They don't even have
the
thing is, even it's not even just being
They're
light.
Very white.
They don't even have. They don't even have white. They don't even have black features.
Yeah, they don't.
Which even if you are a black mixed person and you're not dark skinned, usually, not saying all the time, because there are plenty of people I've met in my life who are mixed and do not have like traditionally African features, but they look like both their parents are freaking Anglo-Saxons, in my opinion. And I that's one. See, look at that bland ass
The
rock lamb.
asparagus looks fucking bland.
They look as bland as Charlotte's Children.
Yes. But just to reiterate, that scene with Charlotte's Children was basically her being like, y'all need to have kids, and the kids were being like,
And the one to marry an actress. See, look at that. One of them wanted to marry an actress. She said, no, that's what the crap. Every time we watch this, I just keep thinking about Meghan Markle. Because I'm like, this is the, like, what is it called? Epigenetics of them, like, not being able to see past the barest minimum of like qualifications that someone should have, and your position in life shouldn't be it. But eventually, like after we go back to the future, we go backwards to the past, and young Charlotte is like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm going to see my husband. I'm happy. And she's like, take me over there. She gets there.
I want to go there.
He's at his little observatory.
He's been sleeping in the observatory.
He's been sleeping, eating, living in the observatory. And she's like, so this is what you're doing? I would have rather you had been in a brothel.
I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you get hyper-focused on an interest.
Yes.
And that interest sort of dominates all things, including, but not limited to, like having sex or spending time with others. You become so fascinated with something. However, I think this isn't I don't want to say that this is a cover. I think he's genuinely interested in the stars.
Oh yeah, he said that he was in the first episode. He said
it.
that if he wasn't king, he would have gone to school to study astronomy.
Yeah. I think what's happening with him is that I think he's on the spectrum.
Oh, 100%. Like, I'm thinking that he is definitely neurodivergent, or possibly like he has some sort of whatever his mental illness is, it has some sort of mania. Yeah. And he is hyper focusing on the stars, and he's not even recognizing that he could be alienating anyone around him.
Because he is terrible at reading faces, at reading social cues.
He doesn't seem that, because when
he's always like, what's wrong? Or what, you're mad? Like, what? Like, I don't understand. Which, as somebody who's also neurodivergent, and as somebody who's also has mania and depression and shit like that, I'm often like, I just did this nice thing for you. How could you be mad at me?
When he said, I do not understand what you complain about, I was like, that's every man ever. Yeah. Like,
I don't get it.
The fact that that I feel like men at times can be so oblivious to the fact that their female partner, and not even just their female partner, but like their partner is wanting and asking and needing something, and they're just like, what? I didn't do anything. And it's like, that's the point. You didn't do anything. Like, I shouldn't have to ask you for love and affection and interest. I just want you to do it on purpose.
And I definitely think this is a male thing, because if you recall, I'm not sure if you were there actually, but I was having a conversation with my dog, my dad, about his dog.
Yes.
And he was explaining how he
liked the other guy better than him. Yeah,
the dog had affection for someone else other than him. And my dad was like, I don't understand. I walk it, I feed it. What more could you want from me?
Because I think that, like, a lot of times, and this is not, I would say, like, a lot of times when women may step out.
That's not to compare women to dogs.
No, it's not. I did not think you were doing that. Good. But I think that a lot of times when women step out on their partners, it's not because, like, some people, yes, it's just because they just have no ability to control themselves. But I think a lot of it also stems from the fact that, like, you want to feel desired and loved and wanted and all that. And if your partner is not showing you like, and not just the bare minimum, if your partner is not showing you that they want you and that they desire you, especially I think, at least I could speak as a woman, I feel like that feels like, it kind of hurts your feelings. And then if somebody else is doing, just an inch more, it starts to be like, well, yeah, like, this is what I want. I want someone to be like, oh, you look so sexy today, or like, oh, you look so cute, and like, I want to do these things for you. And if you're not getting that at home, you can turn, like, someone else can have the ability to do that. Because I think that women, maybe not all of them, I don't know, but I will say at least the women that I know in my life, and as a woman, for me personally, I like to be indulged. I want you to indulge me. I want to know that you want to spend time with me, you want to be with me, you enjoy all of the weirdness and eccentricities that are going to come around with being with me. And if I do not feel that, I could still stay with someone like that. But that doesn't mean that if I were to go out and someone is like giving me that attention, that it wouldn't make it hard for me in my mind to not want to like have more of that. So I can understand why she is like, yeah, I'm upset because I'm 17 years old. I am in a whole nother country. I'm having weird food. I'm having weird customs. And my husband, the only person that I've even had a real conversation with this whole time, is not even there. And I think that a lot of men don't recognize that, like, going to work and, like, taking care of the home is not taking care of your partner. Because providing for someone, it's not just like a financial providing, and protecting someone is not just a physical providing. It's like being emotionally aware and emotionally attentive and physically attentive. Because I think there's always been this kind of belief that women like don't like sex, and it's always something that you gotta like force onto them, and it's just like, oh, well, she has a headache all the time. Maybe she wouldn't have a headache all the time if you were giving her more than just the bare minimum, and her then being like, well, I don't want to have to keep like forcing myself on you. I want to know that you want to be with me and spend time with me, whether that's sexually or just laughing and talking with me. Like, all of those things are forms of intimacy that are going to get you to those long-lasting relationships that you want to be at. But he is just, like, aloof, unfortunately, and doesn't understand it because he's the king. Like, what has the king ever had to do for anybody else?
This has been an episode of Iyanla Odie.
But
mind you, we're also 30 minutes into this podcast and only 12 minutes into this episode.
All right, I'm gonna hurry up. Okay, so one thing I did love about the queen going to visit the king was that we got to see Brimsley and his little boy toy.
Yeah, first
yes, for the queer love.
And mind you, like, Brimsley is so much shorter than this guy, but he is clearly a top. You can tell that Brimsley is the top. Yeah. Which is weird because Brimsley in the future looks like he would... How do I say
this? Do
this?
not fat shame Brimsley. He's an older man.
Be lazy, I guess.
Well, maybe by the time he's older, but like he's a young, virile man.
I'm old.
Okay? You're not old.
Yes, I am.
He's young.
I'm an old man.
You're not an old man. He's young. He's like getting his rocks off because Brimsley's probably he's probably 18, 19 himself.
Yeah.
And
so while they seductively like fuck, and while he gets dome, they I love that phrase, get dome.
Get brain.
Yeah. Well, I like dome better than brain.
Do you like dome, brain, or head better?
Dome. Cause dome just seems like forceful. Get
that
dome. Brain is like silly. And head is just standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, head. Anyhow, while they're discussing like
logistics.
Like
how can we, why aren't they fucking? Like, what's wrong with his bits? Mm-hmm. Are they weird looking? Do they not work? Like, are they small? Like, what's going on? And the king's man's like, nah, he got I've seen them large, nice, normal bits. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't know what type of women he likes. I can't tell you. He likes women.
Also,
that's
this
it.
is white people, so large might be relative.
Yes.
We were just watching Moana, and I was discussing the fact that
Polynesian men statistically have the largest penises.
Yes, they do. And I
would very much like to visit Australia for the sights.
Or Hawaii. Get a fucking Maori warrior.
Bro, what's his name in the movie?
Maui.
Maui, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you about to do the haka? Do not do the haka on this show.
I was about to do the haka.
Do not.
But then I thought that would be cultural appropriation, and I decided against it. It would have been
terrible, so do not do it.
First off, if I do anything, it's going to be decent. So...
Right, listeners, write in.
Okay, well, I didn't do it, so you don't have to write in.
But, like, after the queen goes to see the king, and they have this, like, little argument because she's basically like, what's going on? Like, you're not coming to see me. And he basically tells her, like, listen, I'm here enjoying my stuff. Like, get out, go home.
He's in his man cave. This is an early man cave.
This is man cave. Yes. His estate.
Man cave, more like a man's grave.
But she goes home.
I can't take credit for that. That came from Comedy Bang Bang.
She goes home. She's upset. And now Brimsley and his boyfriend are trying to figure out how they're going to get them together because the queen is asking the king and queen's men, are they
asking
fucking?
All the questions. Asking all, and the king's man lies.
Yeah, but because it's like, what are you going to do? You already know this is what they want, so you're just going to tell them what you think they want to hear. Like, yeah, of course. They're fucking all the time. They look happy. They're laughing and giggling. Like, it warms my heart to see them together.
This makes me realize I'm glad I'm not royalty because, like, I don't want somebody tracking everything that I'm doing. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
The queen or the princess.
Imagine if there was somebody five steps outside of that room.
I would hate that. I don't like being places where I feel like people are staring at me. That's why I did not really enjoy.
Is that true at all?
No,
I like attention.
I like attention, but only when I want it. Like when I was in Korea at the airport, it was very like jarring that any moment.
Again, take a shot. Travel.
Any moment
travel, Brad,
that I was in the airport and I was like looking at something and I was like touching it and I just wanted to. I like to touch stuff when I'm in the airport. One of my fun things that I like to do.
Why are you touching anything in there?
I want to touch it. I don't care. I'm not gonna buy it. I just want to touch it. I like to touch things in stores.
You're a child.
Like, I am a child. I like to touch the things in the airport. And usually, I can touch them, I can lick them, I can smell them. I'm not lick them.
You can lick them?
No, I can look at them. I can smell them. Like, I have a certain routine.
What airport are you going at where you're smelling anything?
They have perfume in airports.
I've been at
You've not been at JFK. They have perfume in the duty free.
Why are you fucking touching perfume?
Because I want to smell it. And I'm going to spray it because I'm going to spray it on myself before I get on my flight.
You want to smell airport
I'm going to spray it on myself. I'm not paying $90.
This is what happens when you shut down all the malls. They have nowhere to go except the fucking airport. And you get Odie's over here smelling your fucking wares.
$90 for Chanel Chance, but I 100% will spray it on myself before I get on my flight. It's a thing. It's a pre-flight activity that I do. But every time when I was
Gotta
in
get another pre-flight activity.
whenever I was in
my pre-flight activity is drinking. Is just going to the bar.
I do that as
drinking
well
at the bar,
after I've sprayed myself, but I couldn't even
making
do
sure
that.
I know how long this trip is gonna be, so that I can figure out if I have to pee before I board or if I can hold. Because I do not like using those toilets in the airplane.
Well, either way,
I have a secret fear that I'm gonna get sucked in.
it's not soul plane. Anyway,
I know.
When I was in Korea,
But
every single time I was in any store, the moment that I would even like pick my hand up to reach for something, somebody was standing behind me like, "How can I help you?" And it wasn't at first. I was like, "Is it because I'm black?" But then I realized
No, it's because you're Odie and you're doing this weird.
no,
ritual
it's
that you're-
because they are just very much centered on customer service.
No, they are not.
Yes, they are.
They are
Every
trying
single
to
person
fucking
they want people to buy stuff, but like
dissuade the weirdos.
every person that would go and touch something, they would go like and ask them if you need help. And I don't want that. I want to be able to walk around, touch things at my leisure, and that be that. I don't want to have to wait and be like, then we're now trying to have an awkward conversation with you about, no, I'm okay. Like, I just want to touch this stuff, and that's it. So it's weird. But then we get to see more of Lady Danbury.
She keeps getting fucked by this old dude, and he has the best O face. His fuck face is so great. Hold on, I'm rewinding. His fuck face is like
her husband's name.
Yeah, he looks. If the nerds out there will know this, he looks like Jabba the Hutt. Like,
the actor's name, Lord Danbury, is Cyril Neary. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's Nigerian. That's cool. He's in the show. He's from Sierra Leone, but he's Nigerian. And I had a question about her husband. So we find out in this episode that her husband's father is the king in Sierra Leone. Do you think that he was the king and the reason why he had, like, he was working with the crown was because he was a slave trader?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That was my thought, but I wanted to have some more,
As somebody
more
who
questions.
went out with someone from Sierra Leone, I can absolutely tell y'all because they won't shut up about it. I find that, I gotta say this correctly because Odie is right here. I find that no one knows more about African history than the children of African immigrant parents.
Yes, that's true. My father,
And they will not shut up about it.
I think that my knowledge of African history.
I don't know shit about
is more
my
from my
grandfather besides that he was an Araver. But motherfuckers know who was the chieftain. They know about the fucking Biafran War.
It was an important thing in our history.
They know about all of the
Well, I would
ins
say
and outs.
My African history came from my American mother because she wanted us to be very, very proud of our African ancestry and to recognize why it was so important and why we should be proud of it. And also because colonization has wiped away a lot of people's understanding, even in their own countries, a lot of their understanding and pride of their own of certain things. But
20 minutes in.
okay, you don't have to keep giving a
43
timestamp.
minutes into this podcast.
It's fine. Either way,
We're gonna have to do a part 2.
Lady Danbury has been fucking her husband. Well, she's not fucking him. He's rabbiting her.
Ravaging.
No, rabbiting.
What is rabbiting?
When a man is just going like this with no stroke and just acting like he's a fucking jackrabbit and not in a pleasurable way. Because this does not fun, nor does it, there's no stroke, there's no like sensuality. It's just, I'm trying to come And I'm going to do it as fast as I can. And I don't care if you come at all because it's all about me. Listeners, please write in and tell me whether or not I've explained that properly.
Well, now I'm self-conscious to go to hedonism.
That is, like, eventually this is gonna happen, like, eventually, but this can't be from the start. It's a lead up to it. Like, this should be towards the end, because you're revving it up, and then you go. Like
I think in my lifetime, okay, so this is a little bit personal. When is the hedonism trip?
next week.
Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, spoiler alert. I've been drinking. Spoiler alert, we will not be broadcasting for 2 Wednesdays, I think.
Maybe. Get back on the 3 first.
Yeah, we will not be broadcasting for 2 weeks. So, listen to these podcasts. The thing that I was going to say is that I'm going to do my best not to fap for a week before hedonism. Mm-hmm. I'm going to build it up. Mm-hmm. So that once hedonism happens, mm-hmm. and mind you, not everybody goes to hedonism for sex,
some people just like to see the happenings.
Some people are voyeurs. Some people are just whatever, right?
You don't have to indulge in anything if you don't want to.
Exactly. But I'm gonna be an older, and I want to mentally prepare myself.
Mm-hmm. It's like when you go on a fast.
Yes, I'm going to fat fast.
A fap fast. But like Lady Danbury is unfortunately, she's married to this older man. Mm-hmm. He's trying to fuck her every which way but loose. Well, because they have gotten these new titles, but he also is being still barred entry because racism. From all the different things, from the club, like from going certain places, from the hunt and all that stuff.
The gentleman's club.
And so whenever he comes home, he's taking out these like frustrations on her. And I think that is I think that men should recognize that women know when you are fucking them because you are like sexually attracted and like, ooh, I just want to I'm just so desiring you right now. And versus when you're using them as a blow-up doll.
Outlet.
Not an outlet, a blow-up doll.
Okay, fine. I meant like an outlet, not like a
frustration outlet.
Like an outlet of
frustration. It's not a electrical outlet.
Fuck the frustration out of her.
Fuck the frustration out of myself.
Fuck the frustration out of myself into
like, oh, I'm stressed from work. Let me just jackrabbit into her instead of having to use my hands. Meanwhile, she's laying there like, all right, you didn't even like kiss me or touch a boob or something. Like, didn't even matter that I was here. It could have been anybody.
By and large, the majority of people in Bridgerton, with the exception of Lady Danbury, don't got boobs.
That's true. I love Lady Danbury's
These
outfits.
corsets, like even Queen Charlotte's corset it's doing more damage to her than it is helping present her as like
always
a
loved
big-titted woman.
Regency outfits because I love how corsets, like when you breathe.
Because Lady Danbury's corsets are almost like if the guard thing isn't up that high, it would probably be spilling out of her.
Because it's like when you breathe, the way that like each breath just like it accentuates your bosom.
Pillsbury dough.
I love that. I feel like
out of it.
that's like, it's so sexy. Like, yeah, you're wearing all these clothes, but you're seeing a little bit of cleavage and just like pulsating bosom. What else could you want? But Queen Charlotte invites Lady Danbury out to tea. Well, over for tea, because she's the only person that Brimsley will like let her bring. Because he's like, you gotta be discreet. You can't just have anybody over here. Like, it'll look weird, especially because they haven't consummated their marriage.
Yes, agreed.
And so when Lady Danbury comes over, at first they're doing a very polite, like, okay, everyone's here, we're just talking tea. And finally, Lady Danbury is like, listen, can we talk about ourselves? They kick everybody out, and she's like, so, what's the tea, girl? Spill it. Like, what's going on? What's happening between you and your husband? Like, I know that the first wedding night can be difficult because mine was terrible and horrible. And Charlotte's like, oh, he was mean. He didn't want to stay here. He was selfish. And Lady Danbury's like,
no, I'm talking about.
You're recognizing like what I'm saying.
I'm talking about the fucking.
Like, have you consummated your and Charlotte's like, I mean, no. So Lady Danbury gets some paper and charcoal and draws her some very descriptive pictures.
And I noted that one of them is just the blowjob.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
One of those charcoal. Excuse me?
No, I'm not saying that towards blowjobs. I'm saying that towards Lady Danbury.
Oh, okay.
Having to do that to her husband.
Yeah.
His old wrinkly dick.
First off, I don't think dicks get wrinkled.
The
when
balls
they're
are
hard.
really wrinkled.
When they're hard.
I think that I've never seen an old peen, but however, I think they.
Okay.
I've never had an old peen.
That's my Jay-Z story of OJ.
I've never had an
reaction.
old peen near my face, so I don't know what they look like up close and personal. But I could imagine that they're wrinkly.
The penis is not.
But is it just the balls that are wrinkly?
When they're hard, when they're flaccid, they're wrinkly. Okay, yes. When they're flaccid, there's wrinkles. When they're hard, the skin tightens up.
Really? You think even the old skin?
Yeah, even old skin. Oh, trust me. Like, never mind. I was about to say something disgusting.
Tell me when we go on break. But
by the way, I'm ordering dumplings.
Good. Please get.
Neither of us have eaten
Since quite some time. Hello.
Hello there.
They're gone.
God
but
damn it.
Lady Danbury.
Rashad.
He's back. Or someone else is here. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
After Lady Danbury leaves her tea, unfortunately, she is again freaking having to have sex with her husband because he has been denied. He's here.
Yeah, what's up?
He has been denied entry to.
We're talking about Bridgerton. We're talking about Queen Charlotte of Bridgerton story. We're reviewing the second episode of that.
And there's lots of old balls.
Yes, and we're talking about the fucking of Lady Danbury.
So after like her husband forces, I won't say he's forcing her to have sex. We don't see any of that. It's just like it's a chore for her.
It's a chore.
They have
She
sex
even describes
again.
It early
it's a chore. It's a job.
Chore.
It's like washing the dishes.
Yeah,
I hate
it's
it,
a
but like, you gotta
job,
do
a
it.
hand job, a fuck job, an anal job.
But then it goes fast forward again to older Queen Charlotte, Lady Danbury, and then Violet comes, and Queen Charlotte is trying to figure out.
Why don't we ever call it an anal job? Like,
well, that is kind of a job.
It's a job. Like,
it is.
Like, I understand why we don't call it a fuck job.
You have to
just
prepare
fucking.
for it.
Yeah.
You gotta get ready.
Just like with blowjobs, like you have to mentally prepare for it. You have to prep. You have to fleet. You know.
You gotta make sure you're well versed in all the.
Some people don't do that, and it's fucking disgusting. Quite frankly. All right.
Painting the sheets.
Painting the sheets. Painting the brush. The brush should not have that much paint on into this goddamn thing.
Oh, I mean, yes. Everyone, drink lots of water before you.
That ain't gonna say
Don't eat chili or tacos.
Have
a
figure
salad.
out what your diet is. Eat salad.
Get a green juice.
See, one of the So, a little insider fact. One of my, not close, but one of my Maryland friends who was a dancer when I knew them is basically a sex worker.
Okay.
And I follow them on Instagram. And they're very much a sex worker. Mm-hmm. But their diet consists of mostly of salads.
Okay,
because every day they're getting railed out by men. Shout out to you. I'm not going to name you because, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to her or them, whoever they are.
Them. Oh, shit. We lost everybody.
You shouldn't have been talking about anal. Oh, my God. I bet you Lady Danbury's husband has her doing anal.
Probably.
I'm sure her butt really hurts after that because he has no stroke. He literally is just plowing through.
He's probably had a stroke.
He looks like it.
Okay.
But Lady Danbury, Queen Charlotte, and Violet are discussing how they could figure out how to get Queen Charlotte's children married. And even though Violet is like, love is how I've gotten my 2 children married in the last 2 years. And like, Lady Danbury is like, marriage is just a chore. Like, it's a duty. It's not really anything that you need to have love for. Because I think that Lady Danbury and Violet had 2 very different marriages.
Yes, they did.
Lady Danbury, regardless of how they got together, she and her husband loved each other. They were fucking all over the place. They had all these children. Versus Lady Danbury, who was just with him out of obligation, or this is the man her parents chose for her, and so she had to go. And it was a terrible time until he probably died, decades before her, because she was a young woman. And Queen Charlotte hears both their perspectives, and she's like, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get all the ladies in Europe who are available, and I'm going to just get them. I'm going to make a list, and I'm going to have them pick it. Pick somebody from here, and let's just call it a day. Because I'm not going to sit here and have you marrying whores and actresses and commoners.
Yes.
Because what'd she say? She had 50, there's 50 illegitimate children to the
ground?
ground?
Yeah, I wrote that down. There's 50 illegitimate children.
I want to know how many of those illegitimate children, like where their bloodlines are now. And you can imagine they probably are in a variety of colors, backgrounds, like who knows? I'm very curious.
It's maybe a fifth of England is probably has some ties to the crown.
Because at this point...
Because everybody just fucking...
Because 50 children...
50, that means there were 5 boys. That means that there's 10 children each, on average.
And then she's like, okay, 10 that's 10 children each from them. Then those children all have children. That's 100. All those children have children. At the bare... by now, shit. My cousins could be fucking... British monarchy.
Probably.
For all we know.
Probably. You have 1 million cousins.
Well,
I have so many cousins, and I'm never remembering any of the names.
You already know a few, so you know Anthony.
I know Anthony. That's it.
That's 2 of my cousins.
Even then, that's not how I know him. I know him as eBay.
Yes, I know. Unfortunately.
And when I see him, I'm like eBay, and then everybody turns their head.
Yeah.
Like, excuse me?
Because that's our last name. That's the worst nickname to have. And all
he's the one who told us to call him that.
But him and his brothers, several of them go by eBay with their friends. And I'm like, how are you going to go by our last name? If I'm outside and when I was with the yard and someone would be like, eBay, I'm turning around because you're calling us by your nickname, our surname. Pick something else. But either way. Charlotte has a grand plan of finding all the women in Europe to see who her kids are going to marry, and she's going to force it upon them as their duty. The prince has sent young Charlotte a Pomeranian, which she hates because she's like, this is not a dog. A dog is a German Shepherd, a Schnauzer, a Great Dane, like a Doberman type of thing. Like, this is a little deformed bunny.
Yes, she
which,
keeps saying that it's a deformed.
Honestly, Pomeranians are very cute, but I would not want that type of dog.
No, that's too much.
It's too tiny. Like, I don't want...
My friend Ariel had a Pomeranian.
They're very yappy, and
Yeah.
I don't want anything yapping at me, like, every day. Like, it's just too much. There's too much going on. But now, Brimsley's in trouble because he let Lady Danbury come over, and now the king's man, his boo, is like, you need to get this shit together because we can't have people coming over and then her talking. And then next thing you know, Lady Danbury is summoned. And at first I thought she was going to go see Charlotte again, but it's not Charlotte, boo. It's the Princess Dowager.
Now, we will have to take a break.
Yes.
Because we're going to get kicked off of Instagram. But we will be right back with more of this review of episode 2 of Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story, on Watch Out Wednesdays, Black and Snerdy.
You're listening to the Black and Snerdy podcast.
That never gets
We now return to the Black and Snerdy podcast.
All right, so when we left off, Lady Danbury has been summoned by the Princess Dowager, a.k.a. the Queen's mom.
Yes.
Or the King's mom.
Yes.
She goes to, first of all, her husband is super jelly because he's like, my dad, the king.
I meant to show you something off mic.
Damn it. Well, you can still show me. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
He's like, my dad was the king, and I was the one that had a relationship with the king, being a slaver. So why are you getting to go to the palace? All the pomp and circumstance of a African man. And she's like, honey, like, it's fine. I'm just gonna tell you everything about it. No worries. It's obviously because of you.
This is my friend.
Oh, okay. They're pretty.
She.
Yeah, she's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But
then.
Yeah.
But then.
Oh, yeah.
And then.
Oh.
Yeah, and then.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah, and then.
Yeah. Are they trans? Non-binary?
Not non-binary, because they use.
Oh.
She's
getting it in.
Yeah.
Hey.
Has an OnlyFans.
Listen, subscribe. She's very cute.
Yes. Very tall. A very tall person.
So
when I knew them, they were very tall as well. Thought that they would just be a model.
They were modeling.
And they're modeling something.
They're modeling.
They are modeling. She is modeling, I should say.
So the queen or whatever, the king's mother brings her over to the palace.
On Instagram. Anyhow,
and basically is like, you were at the palace. What's up? What's going on? And Lady Danbury is like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. We had tea. We were talking about gowns and
Lady Danbury is a true ride or die.
She is.
She's not giving up the tea, but she is finagling her way into higher positions of power.
Because you gotta scam white folks for all they got.
Yes.
Because first of all, the queen says, Agatha, tell me. She said, Lady Danbury to you. Because that's the title you graciously bestowed upon me. Mm-hmm. So do not try and belittle me. Because first of all, she said, you better tell me what you know, girl. And not girl as in like, oh, girl. She said girl.
No, she said girl. Like
nigga,
boy.
you better tell me what the fuck you know. And then
that's a better version of that.
Her, whatever guy, Boot or whatever his name is like, I'll handle her. Handle me how? I want to see you handle me, sir. With pleasure. So, Lady Danbury and the Princess Dowager, they're going back and forth. And eventually the queen or the king's mom is just like, let me talk to her by myself because of womanly things. She gets her alone, and she's like, all right, now you're being very close-lipped about what's going on, so you need to tell me some information. And Lady Danbury finagles her, like, I merely had a discussion with the queen about our fancy new titles that we have. Mm-hmm. Because you're trying to act like, oh, you just had all these black people here. No, you didn't. Because you didn't want us here. We are segregated, living in a separate part of the town, which I still believe would have been better for them. I mean, I think integration was a pox on all of our houses.
Yes, it was.
But the black people were like, they were chilling. Even Lady Danbury's maids, like, we should just keep, why do we gotta intermingle with them? These hoity-toity white girl maids looking down at me like we're both not maids, but because I'm not white, they think it's okay to talk to me anyhow. And I'll drag a bitch. And I agree. Don't let anybody talk to you anyhow. And Lady Danbury said, you're not going to talk to me anyhow. I don't care if you're the king's mother and you could, with the snap of your fingers, have me beheaded. Because you know what? You're going to behead me, but no, you're going to respect me. That's number one. So she says to her, if you want, the king's mother wants her to basically be her inside man and give her the tea and report back to her about what's happening. She's like, well, what are you about to give me? And the queen, what is her name? Princess Augusta, first of all, terrible name. Princess Augusta is like, oh, you want money? And she said, bitch, my husband's father is the king of Sierra Leone. That's how he knew your husband. So we have money. We have more money than all y'all little rinky-dink white folks here. I don't need money. Mm-hmm. But what I do need is land and respect.
You gotta run me my respect.
Because we don't need anything from you except for what we deserve. Pay me what you owe me.
Bitch better have my respect.
And that's it. And so, of course, Princess Augusta's like, oh, you better be careful. And she's like, you want to get this information? Give me my estate. Let my husband join whatever things he fucking feels like it. And we can go from there, which I think, honestly, black women have always had to navigate these spaces.
Yes, they have.
Where people do not want us, but we are there.
Yes.
And we had to figure out ways to ensure that we are getting, you may not respect me really, but you're at the very least going to give me what you owe me.
Give me what you owe me.
And so, I mean, we don't know. The episode ends where we don't really know how Lady Danbury handles it. But we know she's besties with the queen. So at the very least, I do hope in the next episode, she tells her, listen, bitch, Augusta wants to know what you're doing and how you doing it. And she wants me to report back to her. Now I'm going to do it, but I just need you to know.
You mean Violet? No, not Violet.
No, Violet's... Violet is
Princess Augusta.
Yeah, it's Princess Augusta because Violet's the other white lady.
Yeah,
that's that.
Sorry,
what's her name? Darcy.
They look very similar.
What is the name
Old
of
white bitches.
What's the name of her daughter? Darcy, Darlene.
Maybe it's Darcy.
No, it's not Darcy. Maybe it's Darlene. I don't remember. Whatever her white girl name is. Her mother. They're all friends. So she's like, I'm gonna keep you in the loop.
We're never making it on the official Bridgerton fucking podcast.
You don't know that.
Whatever that is. Because, we don't know these niggas' names.
I don't know the white ones. Because I don't care about them. I don't care about white actors. There's so many of them. They're all over the place. They look alike. They all have the same face. We keep casting the same 5 people in different variations. How many Chris's do we have currently? Too many. But Charlotte is going back to being dressed up like a doll at every point. And she wakes up for her dinner, or she gets dressed for her dinner, comes down and she sees who? King Georgie Porgy Pudding Pie. Kiss the girls and make them cry. he's sitting at the table like, hey, what's up? How's it going? And she's like,
What that mouth do?
you're just here for
The
a
mouth
dinner?
do chew.
Because that's all he wanted to do was just come here for a meal and leave. She's like, how long have I been here? And you've been acting like I am fucking chopped liver. Like the stars were more important than you spending time with me. And you think you're going to appease me by sitting here and eating a meal? Sir, fuck you. And that is how I'm very grateful for the black girl attitude that she gives. And not to say that this is specific only to black women, but I can say as a black woman, I recognized the energy that she's like, you can't just show up and expect me to be like, oh my God, it's you, my husband. I don't even know you. You haven't said a word to me. I haven't seen you. You haven't even really barely sent me any letters. Because at the very least, if he had been gone at his house and she's at hers, and he is like sending her a bunch of notes, like, how are you doing? I miss you. Like, send me some sex. Like something like, oh, the way that the sun be shining on your bosom. I love it. I don't know. But she's not getting anything from him. But then he is expecting her to just be excited at his mere presence. And she said no. And so then he's like, let me tell you what I've been doing. Let me show you. Let me, have you be a part of my world. Which I think that most women, regardless of what they think about what their partner likes to do, I think that there's something to be said about your partner wanting to enjoy the things that they enjoy with you. So it doesn't feel like you're having two separate lives is not bad, but I want to know that you want me to be a part of your world. Like the Little Mermaid. Like, I want to know that even though I have no interest in the wrestling or whatever, that you want to watch your wrestling with me. You want to talk to me about what's happening. And I don't care that much. But because you care about it, that's fun to me. That's enjoyable. We are going to have something to talk about later. And so she goes to his observatory. He's showing her Venus, which Venus is the planet of love. So it was very serendipitous that that is what he was showing her. And he's like, oh, the transits. And I was like, look at you, my astrological king, okay? I want you to tell me about the transits. What's happening? Where is the moon at today? And this is the thing. All you guys who always like to joke about, oh, women love astrology. She's asking for my birth time. Da, 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 da. Like, this isn't new. This is old. People have been looking at the stars and studying the stars and the movements of the planets for literally ever. So the fact that you just don't know about astrology or astronomy doesn't mean it's not real. It just means you don't know about it, and perhaps you should go read a book. So he's showing her about the transits of Venus and how it's going to be making, something's going to be conjunct something else. And it's so romantic because, if you don't have television, seeing this, I will say, one of my favorite Valentine's days, and I have not had that many, was a time when the guy I was seeing they found this app where you could see the stars and the planets and all that. And they were like, oh, it's during the pandemic, so you can't really do anything outside. But I'm going to figure out a way to make this cute and romantic for you. And what did they do? They took their little app out and they were like, let's look at the stars. Let's see where it is. And that, to me, it didn't cost anything. I mean, I don't think the app cost anything. But it didn't cost anything. It was free. But to me, it was like, this is so sweet. I love this because I am an astronomy, like, aficionado. Like, that's, like, one of my things. So the fact that somebody would expound a little bit of thought and energy into finding something that I like and, like, let's look up at the stars and, like, dance under them. To me, like, that was so special. But I can only imagine how amazing that seems when you don't have any TV. You don't have any TV, you have no internet. All you got is books. You got books and paintings and music. And that's all you got to, like, immerse yourself in. And the prince shared his, like, thing with her. And
shared his world.
Yeah, and I feel like that's literally what people just want you to share your world with them. Because it doesn't matter that, like, you actually have an interest.
It doesn't matter.
In the thing. It's just that, like, I want to know that you want me to be included in your life in these small things. Because it just makes you feel like, yeah, you want me here. Like, you want me to be a part of your world. And, like, you want me to find joy in the things that you find enjoyment in. And it was very cute. And so, of course, they have this beautiful little sweet moment. And they're, like, kissing. And he's like, well, we never got to have a honeymoon or a wedding night. So I think that we should reenact that. Like, let's have a do-over. And she's like, well, I done seen the pictures. So, sure. And he's like, okay, good. And then, like, the part that was funny to me when she was like, okay, I understand what's going to happen here. But I don't want my head to be banging up.
I thought that was later when they were in the bedroom.
Oh, it might have been.
Yeah, that was when she had a million buttons.
So many buttons.
Okay, so nightgowns back then. Like, what? You
still had to be modest. You still had to be modest.
Fucking modest and chaste.
Even when you're with your husband.
In your sleep. Oh my God. If you have to wear shoes indoors, I guess it makes sense that you would have to be modest.
The fact that you couldn't, I'm not walking around in a 3-piece suit in my home.
Like,
give me some fucking sweats.
If I had a kingdom, if I had a royal kingdom, I'd be naked all the time.
Yes.
And
I'm going to have a royal decree that you need to have comfy clothes. Inside the house, comfy clothes only. Because why are you so... This is why British people are so buttoned up. Because you can't even feel comfortable in your own home to, like, let loose. Let me take the corset off. Like, I got to have all this going on. And she literally had buttons from her sternum down to her toes. Like, it was ridiculous. I really thought that he was going to, like, just rip the buttons off.
I thought he was going to rip the buttons off. Well,
because he was like, I'm really good with buttons.
He doesn't seem like the guy to rip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But sometimes you want someone to rip your buttons off. You want them to just be like just ravage you.
Yeah, but then there's that fear that, like, afterwards they'll be like, yo, pay for a replacement of my buttons.
Well, okay, it depends. If I bought a La Perla or whatever it's called, like a $500 nighty little nightgown, okay, then you be delicate. If I just got a little $25 fucking Amazon nighty, rip that shit. I don't care.
How is anybody supposed to be able to tell?
You'll be able to tell the difference between an Amazon and a La Perla.
You'll be able to tell once you start trying to rip, and then there's
I think honestly,
friction, and it's just like,
I would say that a La Perla. I don't even know.
There's nothing worse than trying to rip something and then giving up halfway through.
I think La Perla or La Pearl, however you say it, would probably be harder to rip, or sorry, it'd be easier to rip than Amazon, because like Amazon is just like, these are mass produced in China and they just ship them out. But the material is like, it's gonna be harder versus La Perla, who is it's very like delicate, you know? You can't just rip it. But they, you know, they get to kissing, they get to touching. She gets to just like see a man's bare chest that outside of, and honestly, I was gonna say outside of her brothers, but she probably never even saw.
They probably
her brothers outside of like a button up, like
Yeah.
you know. So this is like the first time that she's being able to see. Now whether this is his first time, probably doubtful. Maybe I don't think that King George presents as like a whore, but he definitely probably had someone like a comfort woman or something, at least once in his life. But she's just like, he's like, do you know what we're gonna do? And she's like, yeah, you know, I've seen pictures, but I don't want my head to be smacking up the board, smacking the headboard. Which, you know what I want to say? I have to disagree with. Not to say that should be like, every time should not be something that's like rough and like gruff. But I think sometimes your head just smacking against the headboard is kind of like, you're just like in the midst of the passion, and it's just like, I don't care. It's like the episode of Martin when Gina gets her head stuck in the
I've never been in a position where I didn't care about the other person's head banging up against the wall.
Well, you don't want to be begging where they're going to be hurt, but it's just like, sometimes you're in just such an animalistic state.
Can I tell you something?
Yes. And the world.
This is embarrassing now that I'm saying it out loud. But this is the first time I'm realizing that Gina got her head stuck in the headboard.
You said her name.
Gina.
Yeah.
What do I usually say to Sheena Arnold?
Oh, yes. Gina got her head stuck in the headboard.
Yeah. Gina got her head stuck in the headboard, and I didn't realize it was from sex. Like, I thought...
What did you think it was?
I thought they were sleeping, and she turned and...
And just got her head in there?
Yeah.
She just was like...
This is the first time that, like,
Yes, because they were knocking boots, and her head... her big head went through the headboard, the little grates, and it got stuck. Now I'm curious how it got stuck. I mean,
the ears are, because like it's easier to put your head through the headboard than it is to get it out.
But I feel like if I was in that, I feel like that Cosby.
I've seen so many fucking kids put their heads through things.
My kittens, when we were younger, they would get their head stuck in, like, you know how a lot of like those dining room chairs, the wooden ones, have the little slits?
Yeah.
Oh, one time our kitten got her head stuck in there, and I was so terrified because I was like, how are we going to get her head out? Because it wouldn't just come out. And eventually, I don't know, we didn't even like, it was wood, so you couldn't even like pull it. But we figured out how to do it, but it was like, it happened. But I'm like, sometimes you just, having there's various different types of sex. There's passionate sex, there's sensual sex, there's animalistic sex, there's like, I'm tired but I still want to fuck, so let's just like do
sex,
it.
There's
like a quickie.
There's robotic sex. There's the,
I'm just trying to get pregnant sex.
I'm tired, but let's
just do
knock this out of the way.
There's like making love.
There's religious sex. There's
soaking. A sheet.
Or soaking.
Yeah, soaking. Ooh, the Mormons. Jeez.
But okay,
you want to know what I'm going to say? I feel like soaking could actually be a heightened form of sex, because when you have like...
What are you talking about?
Hear me out. Soaking, if you don't know, is a Mormon thing where they won't... technically,
they won't thrust.
They won't be thrusting.
They'll just lay the egg roll into the hallway.
And someone will like jump on the bed. So technically, because you're not thrusting, it's not sex. But because the jumping, it'll be causing friction.
Where did the jumping come from? I thought it was just they lie there.
No, so they put it there.
So
there's a third party. So
Yeah,
basically, they're having a threesome. It's a third party jumping on the bed
I
and
have to look
shaking
this up.
it.
I
I found this out on Mormon Twitter, and that's how I found out what soaking was. They're putting it in, they're jumping around so that the person's not thrusting, but they're still having the movement. Alexa, stop. But I do think that could be something that's very like sensual and kind of tantric, because the idea of like tantric sex is that you're taking your time, like you're kind of, teasing and all that. And I think that to me would be the ultimate form of teasing, because you're just kind of, I would feel
what's it? Oh, soaking.
Soaking.
Sorry.
I feel like
I looked up thrusting.
I feel like as the woman in that predicament, if someone's like just inside you and this kind of moving, you're gonna always be hoping and wanting and yearning for the actual thrust. So it kind of is like edging in a way, where you're not really having sex, but you're still feeling it, and that's still feeling.
Oh my God, you're right. They're called the Jumpman.
Yeah.
Jumpman, 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 jump.
That man's up to something.
Jumpman, 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 that man's up to something.
Do you think they're ever like fapping while they're jumping?
Probably. I would.
Like
I would. All right. I would. All right. Okay.
So the queen and the king, they finally have sex. It's very like sensual and passionate, and like, of course, she orgasms. Do you think she does?
Hey, Taylin, how you doing?
We're talking about Bridgerton, Queen Charlotte.
What are you doing up this late?
Yes, what are you doing up this way? How is your dog? They're so cute.
Yes.
But the king and the queen, they have sex. And so the next morning, of course, she's elated. But then we switch back to Lady Danbury, who has gotten her estate. And of course, her husband, oh, hey, we miss you.
Yeah, we miss you.
Maybe we'll see you at homecoming.
Hopefully see you at homecoming. Hopefully see you soon. Miss you. Hope you're doing well. And you take it easy. Lady Danbury is at her new estate, which...
her husband is being just... I
love this scene. Can I tell you, as somebody who is just... I hate this old man, but, like, I love the scene.
Because he is just like, how do we have this? What's going on? And she's like, I don't know. It just happened. But then, like, in the back of her mind, she's like, yeah, I did this. This is why you're happy. I did it for you. But like a man, he could not even allow himself to, like, be grateful or, like, excited with her, because she's just trying to be like, oh, you know, this is going to be great for us. He's just like, hush, woman. And I will say, I don't think her husband is a bad man or a mean man. He's just old. He's a crotchety old man. So, like, he doesn't really have those social graces because he's old.
I thought it was funny when he said hush woman.
He was like...
And I don't mean that in a misogynistic way.
It was funny.
Yes, this is Queen Charlotte. We're reviewing Queen Charlotte.
We're on episode 2.
We're on episode 2. I don't think he meant it in a mean way, and I don't mean it in a mean way, in case the Manosphere come or like, yeah, he's finally telling her to shut.
There's no red pilling over here.
There's no red pilling over here.
It's so good. It is so good. But like Lady Danbury gets her estate. She never tells him how she gets it. And I think that men, listen up. You need to appreciate how much the women in your lives cradle your extremely fragile egos, because she could have been like, bitch, it's because of me. Nobody was checking for you. Like, It was for me. I did this. But she let him have it. Do you know how many times the women in your lives just let you have it? Just let you be great and don't try to explain anything or like it's very frustrating sometimes to be a woman interacting with men, and not even in like a romantic sense, just in general. It doesn't matter if that man is your father, your son, your friend, your partner, your co-worker. The fact that women constantly have to just cradle the baby, fragile egos of men so they do not just break apart and turn to mush. It's exhausting. It's emotional labor that men do not even think about doing.
I understand and recognize that the sex scenes between Lady Danbury and her husband are like just like sad.
Yeah, because but the thing about it is, for most of our time.
But I gotta admit that he has the funniest faces.
Terrible. It's a terrible face.
Those are, he like, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll say it all the time. He looks like Jabba the Hutt.
But the thing about it is like...
He looks like he's dying. Like, he looks like he's about to keel over and have a stroke.
Even though, like, people will watch this and be like, oh, it's so weird and funny that this man... But, like, do you know how many women are laying in beds next to their husbands and boyfriends after these same experiences? Because men have not changed much since this time. There are plenty of men who just think sticking it in and doing this a bunch of times is somehow like, oh, was it good for you the way it was good for me? No! But I can't tell you that because you'll be sulking and sad and annoying. So they let you have it. And it's like, in these times, you regardless of how she had so much money. But it didn't matter that she had so much money and could have bought everybody in the town. The fact that she could never have told her husband, listen, babe, this is how I want you to touch me. This is how I want us to do things. Because I want to be able to feel pleasure too. And there are still women to this day who don't feel comfortable speaking up and telling their partners what they want or what they need, because men's egos are still more fragile than the thinnest pieces of glass. They just want their nut. That is exactly it. A lot of men
I think
just want their nut.
I think Drew Hill said it best. These are the times we all wish for. The moment when less means so much more. You don't have to do a thing.
You just have to lay there with your legs open. And that's all.
And this is the way that we should be.
No pressure from you. And none from me. Because why should I ever ask you for any more than what you're giving? But
I don't make promises. Sometimes my heart gets weak. That song now canonically is about Bridgerton style fucking.
Because you know that old man's heart is getting weak. He doesn't have the stamina to do a stroke, to do like, foreplay. What is that? What does he know about foreplay? Nothing. He's not doing anything.
That's why the music video was them in Bridgerton times.
It was the man in the
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. These are the times as a description for the sex that men was having during that time period.
He might have a stroke if he goes too hard.
He might have a stroke if he gives her a stroke.
If he does a little bit of stroke, if he does anything, he might have a stroke. So he can't exert himself. He has to do the barest of minimums, which many men...
God knows that you're a sexy thing. It's taking everything in me not to kiss you over, under, feel you inside, feel your thunder. How the hell could I not want you?
Because he can't,
not to kiss you.
He can't do any of those things, because if he kisses her, over the covers. One, he's probably going to come really quick, so he can't do anything that's going to lead up. It don't have to be a thing. He can only be like, all right, I'm sticking it in right now. It's hard. I'm going. And that's it. And that's all.
I'll wait for you. You wait for me.
No, she won't wait for you. You know what
true love is insisting.
Oh, do you want to know what she's waiting for?
True love is insisting.
To finally get an orgasm.
True love is insisting. We don't have to rush at all.
Well, they're not listening to that part.
Okay.
Because they're rushing.
Yeah, they're rushing.
They're rushing
like Russian dressing.
They're jackrabbiting. And jackrabbiting is the least enjoyable form of sex to have with a man. Least.
Be thinking about you all the time. Morning, noon, and supper time.
And first of all, who says supper? Old people.
Old people. This is Bridgerton. This True Hill was talking about a Bridgerton song. Tear you up in little pieces, swallow you like Reese's. See, it is Reese's Pieces.
He's not swallowing anything. Do you think
this is a whole separate argument that I've been having for the longest time? It's Reese's Pieces. It's Reese's Pieces. It's pieces of Reese's.
Lord Danbury has not in one time ever given her head. He's never done it. You gotta lick it before you stick it, but he's not done any of it. He's just like, here I am. Doesn't matter if you're dry as fucking sandpaper. This is it. He's just spitting on his hand, putting it on his dick, and sticking it in.
If he's doing that. If he's even spitting.
Listen,
I think that would be a
wonderland. That's the foreplay. That's the foreplay. Because she said if she needed a salve for her thighs.
She needed a salve for the thighs.
Like, can you imagine having to constantly take baths the moment you're done with your partner? Like, it's disrespectful. But after Lady Danbury, unfortunately, has to go to Pound Town with her husband.
Pound.
We flash back to Queen Charlotte in the what is it called? The after bliss or whatever of the sex. She wakes up. She's excited. She doesn't want to eat breakfast. She wants to wait for her husband. She said, I'm going to see my husband again. But unfortunately, like in all Bridgerton episodes, she gets a quick reality check.
Yeah, first off, they never close doors in this fucking show. Like, why the hell is the door wide open? Like, they know that their men are 5 paces outside the door, even if they
You want to know why the doors are always open? Because they know that none of those men are ever going to say... Nobody in the house is going to say anything to where people would know. Like, it might be whispers, but, like, the fact that they can go around yelling at each other and doing anything, no one's going to speak about that.
All right, fine.
And so, unfortunately...
She found out that he's just fucking her to do his duty.
Now, I will say, I did not take away from this scene because the queen is talking to him basically like, have you fucked her? Because we need to consummate this marriage in order to make sure this is a legitimate situation and we don't want to have any issue with the Lords.
Brimsley did a bad job of hiding this from her.
Well, I don't think he was even prepared to hide. He was just like... Oh, he's not. He's here, but he has a guest or whatever. And, like, she just unfortunately hears him saying to his mother, like, I've done everything you've asked of me for the crown and country. I have kept all the things inside me. I haven't been talking about who I am. I've hidden myself away from her. You wanted me to marry, I married. You wanted me to fuck her, I fucked her. You wanted me to just make this look like a real marriage. This is what I've done. Now, I do not believe that when he was saying that, like, I've married because you wanted me to, that he was trying to, like, say that he doesn't want to be with Charlotte or he doesn't care about her.
That way. She took
but
it
I
that
can
way.
imagine if you just finished. First of all, she's a virgin and she just had sex for the first time. You go to find your husband and hopefully, like, I don't think anybody who's with a partner who, like, you have sex, you want there to be like the little afterglow, the sweetness afterwards, and she's hoping for that, but instead she's hearing him say that I did all of these things. I've married her and pretended to love her and have fucked her for duty and duty's sake. And even though I don't think that he really means that because he actually doesn't love her or doesn't want to be with her to build up to love, it would hurt me to hear someone talking about me in that way, especially because she's so young.
Yeah.
Like, all of this is very new to her. And like she told him earlier in the episode, you're the only person that I know. And like, but now I'm finding out I actually don't know you because I think probably the worst part for her was him saying that he's hidden himself. I think that when you're in a relationship with someone, you want to know all about them. And for them to be like, oh, I'm hiding myself from you would hurt. Regardless of what your station in life is. Because it's like, let me know the good and the bad and the ugly. Because then we can move on from that. Like, I can know who you are. You can know who I am. Because none of us are perfect. But now she's coming to the realization, well, actually, maybe this is just for, like, shits and giggles. I'm his beard. And not, like, because he's gay. But, like, I'm his beard as in I'm covering up the like, sins of his life he doesn't want to show other people, and this is like a pomp and circumstance that he can use to get people off his back. And I don't think that anybody would want to say that. Hey, best friend.
Hey.
We're talking about Bridgerton, episode 2.
Yes, we are. We're wrapping up.
But I think that her hearing him talk to his mother about her, and because it's like the thing, this is my thing. If you hear somebody talking about you, and you hear your partner talking about you, no. Okay, if you hear your partner talking about you, and they don't say, listen, I love this woman. I want to be with her. I think she's amazing. This is dope as fuck. And instead, you hear, I married because you wanted me to get married. I fucked her because you wanted me to fuck her. So leave me alone. That would be heartbreaking. Especially because she finally felt like she was getting through to him. They were making progress. They were doing all this. But to hear someone talk about you as if you're just chopped liver.
Yeah, you're an obligation.
You're an obligation?
You're a duty.
Like
he does his duty.
You're just with me because they told you to be with me? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this. One time, my freshman year of college.
Oh, the time.
I know. We're not even at the 15-minute mark. It's going to be quick. It's going to be quick. Freshman year.
To be so bad.
I accidentally saw my ex-boyfriend's phone where he was talking about he was talking to his ex-girlfriend, and he was like, oh, you know, she's just a friend, and I'm just with her to keep my mind off you. And let me tell you, I was devastated. Because to hear someone talking to you about talking to someone else about you, and they're not talking about how much they love you, they want to be with you, like this is the most amazing person ever, that will break your heart. And it will forever cast doubt on whether or not this person is with you because they really want to be with you, or if they're with you because you were more mad than me. You were trying to go to Carver Hall and start cutting people. Like, that hurts. So it broke my heart to see her standing outside this door, and it feels like Queen Charlotte, she's not gotten a moment's respite from being disappointed by the men in her life. Because first, she gets married, and then all of a sudden her brother acts like he don't know her. Then she gets married and thinks, and then her husband tells her he's not going to live with her. Then she thinks things get all good, and it turns out, actually, you're just with me for a duty. Like, that is the worst possible thing imaginable. I would never want someone to be with me just because. If you're not with me because you wholeheartedly just think the sun shines out my ass, then what is the point? If that is an obligation to you.
Reading these comments is funny.
If it's an obligation to you, like that would, like, no, because it is not by force, as the Nigerian aunties like to say. It is not by force. And I never want to feel like I am with someone or someone is with me because they feel like they have to be. If you don't want to be with me, then I don't want to be with you, regardless of how much I love or care for you. And that's why she goes, Brimsley, bring me my breakfast. I am not waiting for anybody because I've done enough of that. Okay? I have waited long enough. And fuck him. Keep my ex, you fuck my ex, you can keep that nigga. That's it.
See, thank you. This is a better usage of it.
It's the same thing.
No, it is not. It's so much better. It's so much more better. Once everybody is gone, once the queen is at breakfast, once the princess is out of the fucking chambers, the king basically collapses.
He has a panic attack or an anxiety attack.
He has an anxiety attack. Yeah. And
his mom is the real villain.
yeah, his mom is the real villain. But he's complacent. But George is complacent, but there's something wrong with him.
Yeah.
There's something, I won't say something wrong.
This is the
There's
first
something
time
going on with him. Like, clearly there's a secret to be had. And I think the arc of this story is him opening up himself to his wife. Which is such a weird thing to say. It's just like, the story arc is him figuring out that the person that he should be confiding into is not Parliament. It's not his mom. It's his wife.
But honestly, I would think that that's a lesson that most men need to learn. Because there are so many men who will not confide in their partners. Mm-hmm. But instead, if some random girl messages them and hypes them up on Instagram, now they're telling them, oh, I had a bad day and blah, 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 blah. Or they go outside of their partner because I think that is a way to escape the vulnerability that you have when you are in a relationship. Because by telling his wife, it makes it real. And he doesn't, yes, Gabby, he did not want to be the family secret. But his mom was trying to force this idea that she had this picture perfect Georgie. But he was not perfect. He has flaws like everybody else. And you have to be able to express that. And you especially have to be able to express the things that are going on with you with your partner, regardless of what it is. Because then if you don't, it's only going to cause more problems in the future. Because your partner should be your safe place to land at all times. Like, it doesn't matter how big or how small. The issue is being vulnerable and honest and open about what's going on with you is always going to be scary, because now you have to think about, what is this person going to think about me? Are they going to leave me? Is this going to be too much for them? Versus going to a third party who doesn't know you. Then they could be like, oh yeah, no, it's okay. But I think that it was good I'm glad that they showed him having this anxiety attack and breakdown. One, because mental health is important, as we are advocates.
It is. Not experts.
But sometimes it can just be too much. And yeah, you're right. Like having to protect a legacy and knowing that all these people are riding on you is a lot to deal with.
Yes.
And that's what he's dealing with his every single day. And now it's like you would hope that when you get married, you'd be able to free yourself from those chains. But that's not true. And he's recognizing, like, doesn't matter what he does or who he's with, his mother is going to be trying to pull his strings. And he just breaks down. But even in his moment of his breakdown, when he should have been trying to get his wife to console him and etc., he's like, he tells Brimsley's boyfriend, get the doctor, but do not tell Charlotte. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next few episodes because I think it's gonna get even more juicy. Okay. Did you have anything
How
else
would you
to-
rate this episode?
I was gonna ask you that.
I know,
You
but
asked me first.
yeah, I asked you first.
I am going to give this.
We didn't get any. By the way, we didn't get any like ballroom dances where the music was modern day music, but it was played through orchestra.
Yeah, we didn't get any Halo.
We didn't get anything.
I want
like
them to.
that,
I want.
which is a strike against this episode.
Yeah,
quite
I
frankly.
feel like they need to add like move.
No, they need to
Add move from Renaissance.
No, if anything, they need to add Cuff It.
Oh yeah, that would be a good
An
one.
orchestra version of Cuff It.
Yes.
Violin.
I think
Fuck up the night.
that like I'm gonna give this an 8.
I'm giving it a 7.
8. My main points of contention are, why are Queen Charlotte's babies so white?
Those babies are white. Those
They're
babies
white.
are fucking
They don't
white.
even like. First of all, could you not have found mixed race
Sorry,
actors?
not babies. They're grown men.
The grown
Those
children.
are grown white men.
Could you not have found mixed race actors to play her children? Because with the white
Because
characters,
Lord knows Blackish did it.
because the thing is, does Violet
Well, half of the cast, I would say.
Does Violet have a variety of children? All of Violet's children look like they plenty Anglo-Saxon. We couldn't have any of Queen Charlotte's babies.
Yeah, she's
looking
light,
like,
bright,
you
but
know,
she's not coming out with white babies. Like,
she's light, but she wouldn't have, like, her babies,
they would be octoroon or something.
they don't even have curly hair. They don't have any sort of wide noses.
Yeah. The lips were thin as shit
Like,
as they smoked their little Imperial
if
cigarettes.
they would have actually hired mixed race actors, regardless of whether they were light skinned or not, then it would be completely different. But it's not. They picked Anglo fucking Saxons to be her children, and I don't like it. Sorrows, prayers.
Yes.
Sorrows to that melanin, because they
Prayers to the
didn't
kids.
want to put enough in there. However, I will say that I do like the way that from when you first see Queen Charlotte's staff, they're all these white people, but by the time that she becomes older, we see that she has basically majority of her staff is black or brown, which is great. I wish they could have just extended that
Yeah.
to her children, because look at Violet's
Violet's
grandbabies.
grandbabies look mixed.
And like, come on, I need more. Okay,
Yeah.
I need Netflix to do better in their cast.
Meanwhile, I'm giving it a 7 because, as I said in this last episode, as I said in the last episode, Bridgerton is not necessarily my thing, but I do find it entertaining. I do find it entertaining and interesting. As far as the story is concerned,
It's mess.
it's a mess. It is messy. It is gossip. It is tea spilling. It is Shonda Rhimes at her peak prime. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And I'm looking at the cover for the next episode. There's clearly going to be a ball where they're going to play some music. So stay tuned for that in 2 weeks.
Gowns, beautiful gowns. Listen, Shonda, you already know how I feel about Shonda.
Yeah.
Okay? She can do no wrong. But we know that sometimes her spin-offs, they don't really have the same oomph as the original show. Mm-hmm. However, I personally, and maybe it's because of the Blackity Black cast, I feel like Queen Charlotte so far is a favorite before Bridgerton.
That's actually one of my sticking points. It draws me in because there's so many black people.
Yeah.
Like if this,
black and brown, yellow. We're getting a menagerie
black
of
and
colors.
brown, sometimes yellow. You know what it is? Black and brown, black and brown, black and brown, sometimes yellow.
All right, well, this was the Black and Snerdy podcast. Watch out now.
Watch out Wednesday. Is it watch out now or watch out Wednesdays?
It's watch out now, but technically it's watch out Wednesdays because it's Wednesday. But it's watch out
watch
now.
out now.
We will be back this weekend on Sunday.
I love you too.
We love you too.
Thank you for joining us for this podcast, for this episode, for this review.
And on Sunday, we will be doing the Black and Snerdy proper, where we'll be talking about shenanigans, which will include the British monarchy, because people got Meghan fucked up.
And it's also going to include rats, because I saw one recently. So, yeah.
Sure. Listen, there were lots of rats in this time, and the Black Plague was only...
Yeah, but I'm talking about this time. Basically near the trash.
Well, tune in to us on Sunday at a time yet to be determined.
Yes, we'll put out a post. Stay tuned to this page.
Sign up for our page.
Yeah, follow
Click
us.
on the notifications.
Follow us.
Find us
like and subscribe.
on-
Follow us.
Follow us on Spotify, on Apple Music. We're trying to get money, okay? And we don't get money if we don't got subscribers.
Oh yeah, follow us on Spotify specifically so that we can get fucking money.
And also
Please.
share,
And share, and
follow,
tell them specifically to follow us on Spotify.
Comment. They don't even have to listen. Just follow us.
No, I know I'm yelling like I'm a dad, but like you don't understand. I want money. I'm a whore for money, and I want to get as much money as possible. Nom. I love money.
Listen, bitch, you trying to be a millionaire or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
You trying to
get flued out or not?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You trying to know some millionaires up in this bitch?
Okay.
And then there you go.
So,
all right.
that was
Take
this
it
episode.
easy.
We love you. Thank you. And cue the outro music.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email at blackandsnerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snerdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snerdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorish is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's ThatSOD_THATSOD.E. And on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Snerdy podcast, where nerds of a feather flock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.